Hello, my name is Hakon, and welcome back, all you fabulous fighting fantasy aficionados, for yet another episode of Fighting Fantasy Frolics and Fun as we go into Fighting Fantasy Gamebook number 34, I believe. Yes, 34, Stealer of Souls. For the second time, and of course, I did not die last time. It was a to be continued situation, ending not quite on the cliffhanger, but at least ending in the middle of the action, as it were. And we'll get back into this. So, this is, if you haven't seen episode 1, I would recommend watching that first because this is basically just the same gaming session, and I'm going to continue where I left off. So, I'm just going to swap now to my desk view here. Right, let's see how we got on. So I've got several pages of pictures. There was a bit of a labyrinth going on here somewhere as well, which made mapping a little bit trickier, but that's this bit here, which of course the map here, if I'm going to do several playing sessions now, this map might turn into a complete spaghetti, but we'll see, spaghetti dish. Right now I am over here. I said I will start from 140. So I will see here. Oh, I got a text, and yeah, right. I'll just have to answer that text because it's my wife, and well, you know, one should be answering text from one's wife. Okay. Right. I presume it's also, of course, has a certain risk she might call at some point. So I do apologize in advance if there are any little intervals in this in this video because of interruptions. It does happen. There might also be mail arriving as well, and also at some point I'm going to go back to pick up the car, which is in for a change of a tire being changed. Yeah. So yeah, we'll see. Right, I'm going to go look at 140 and continue where I left off when I played last and see where we get from there. So you look for the man's clothes and find a set of ornately decorated wizard's robes on a peg in this room. So this is, of course, I just found Alsander. Yeah, I remember now. It's only a few days since I played the last time. So yeah, Alsander. You hand them to the old man, who gratefully exchanges them for the rags he was kept in. Thank you, says the wizard. My name is Alsander, as you had hoped the wizard you were sent to rescue. Excitedly you tell him who sent you and your purpose here. Alsander listens intently, but then shakes his head sadly. Ah, cunning Mordreneth. Of course, he fooled Vanestin into a wild goose chase in the Lancia. Now Vanestin and the other wizards won't be able to resist him when he lands in Poloa. You look at Alsander, puzzled. What can he mean? The wizard soon enlightens you. Mordreneth isn't in the Lancia at all. He is here. He is scheming a monstrous evil deep within the foundation of the Iron Crypts, in his Empire of Illusions, as he calls it. There he is harnessing a dreadful power, one to drive men to madness and death in order to unleash it on Poloa to bring him still greater power. If he can achieve his goal, none could challenge him. This is dire news indeed, but an idea is beginning to form in the back of your mind. When first you were asked to rescue Alsander, you regretted losing the opportunity for glory which ridding the world of Mordreneth would bring. You ask Alsander to continue. Turn to 325. That's going to be a long paragraph. Mordreneth has found a magical way of stealing souls. More precisely, he has found a magical way of stealing the images and emotions of terrifying things from the minds and spirits of the dead. Fear of darkness, fear of death, terror of the dark night when spectres and wraiths roam the world, fear of falling, phobias of many kinds. From these emotional energies and images, he creates illusions which have enough power to drive those who witness them to madness or death. He has also found that he gets his best results with the souls of those freshly dead, preferably killed by himself. Hence, he will soon unleash his illusionary army on Poloa to wreak havoc, so that he will thus have more souls to steal. I will have to teleport to Poloa to give what warning I can, but it is only here he can be stopped. You are our only hope of stopping him now. Yes, you are the chosen one, the one who can save the world, the usual stuff. Alsander clutches your arm and gazes deep into your eyes. Thousands of innocents will be slain if you refuse to help. The Empire of Illusions is a dreadful place, but I can teach you a few spells to help you there. How can you refuse? Your praises will be sung for scores of years, should you succeed. Alsander smiles, relieved. It's fortunate that I learned a little of how modern Earth has changed magical force. So this is actually, in this situation, you actually do have a kind of a choice, a kind of a moral choice, I suppose. What I would like to see in game books more often is that you're actually given the choice to refuse. Just so you can add a paragraph with a kind of a colorful ending for what happens if you refuse. So a kind of an ending paragraph for a chosen failure in a way. That can be interesting, and of course it can sort of totally, tell you off for having made the wrong moral choice, etc. Alsander smiles, relieved. It's fortunate that I learned a little of how modern Earth has changed magical forces here, enough to modify some spells so I can use them myself. But time is short, and the Dark Elves may be here soon. I have only the time and the strength to teach you 3 spells before I go, and you will be able to use each one only once. So the wizard walks over to a small chest and puts on his robes. Choose your spells, turn to 188. So this is, of course, spell is in many ways, it's like an item. You have to pick the right ones to make sure that you have the one you need for, yeah. So 188. Spells. You may choose 3 spells only from the list below. To help you make a wise choice, you may wish to read all the spell descriptions. After being told about a spell, you will be sent back to this paragraph when you have decided which 3 spells to learn, making note of them and the effects they have and when they can be used. Unless otherwise stated, each spell may be used only once. Then turn to 61. So I'll just make a note of that here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm just going to make a little cluster of those other over here on my map. So 2, 2, 9, 5, 16, 3, 3, 6, 1, 7, 6, 1, 3, 3, and 213. Okay. Dispel fear. Dispel illusion. Fire globe. Healing. Luck. Restore. And speed. Okay. Now, it sounds like healing, luck, and restore. It sounds like your your potions. It's for adding stamina, luck, and skill possibly. I'm ignoring those, of course, so they're probably not that interesting. But I'm going to look at the other ones. Dispel illusion sounds very useful, as does dispel fear. I'm just going to have a look at the different ones now. So starting with dispel fear, number 2. Moderneth's magical creations can sometimes create fear in you. When this happens, your skill in combat will be undermined. You may use the Dispel Fear spell at any time to negate all the effects fear has on you. So that's a combat thing. So again, I'm ignoring combat now, so that won't have any bearing on the way I play the game. And then we have Dispel Illusion, 295. Among modernist illusions, some are fearsome creatures which may appear real to your mind and which you must fight. You will be told whether a creature is in fact an illusion. If this is the case, you can cast the Dispel Illusion spell and destroy the creature automatically. Again, combat. If you have the Platinum Amulet, you may use this spell and only this spell twice rather than only once. Okay, so that's quite nice. And I do have the Platinum Amulet. Okay, that is Fire Globe. That sounds quite self-explanatory. Now, if all these spells turn out to be things to use in combat or to do with stats, which I'm ignoring, then of course it won't be a big part of my playthrough now. But I quite like how this is something that in the game, for those who play it the proper way, it adds a game mechanic that adds a bit of interest to the game, a bit more variety. At the start of a combat, you may cast a Fire Globe spell at your opponent instead of using your sword. So again, you do extra damage. Okay, then it's Luck. Luck spell allows you to recover lost luck points, up to 3. Healing allows you to regain stamina. Half of your initial stamina score. Okay. Restore. Allows you to recover lost skill points, as I thought, yeah. And then it's speed, 213. Speed allows you to run very fast and also to dodge and weave, avoiding the blows of opponents in sword fights. If you are in combat, you may cast this spell only at the start of it, not once it's in progress. During this combat, you may deduct 2 from your opponent's skill score because you are so hard to hit. Okay, so they're basically all combat-related spells. I suppose illusion speed might be useful in other occasions as well, but it doesn't seem like I really have to make a choice here, and I'll just yeah. If it turns out some of these spells can be used in non-combat as part of something else, in which case probably it's speed and Fire Globe I can imagine a sort of a non-combat use for as well. Yeah. Anyway, so I'll just be pragmatic about that if I come across something that requires spells that isn't combat, but it sounds like it's not something for me because of the way I'm playing now. So right now I am then going on to, so I just wanted to write here spells 61. Alsander looks weary and pale after teaching you his spells. I have just enough strength to teleport home, he whispers. Oh, I nearly forgot how to get to the Empire of Illusions. There's a secret door over there, and he points to the center of the south wall. Go through it and follow the passageway. I must warn you, there are 2 evil dark elves down there, and beyond their lair is a teleport device which will take you to Moderneth's deepest lair. If you can slay him, the illusions will disappear, and you'll be able to find a way out. Use the magic I have taught you wisely, for you can use each spell but once. Then he murmurs a few words, and his body shimmers and is gone, teleported back to Polua. You make your preparations and set off to confront the Dark Elves. Turn to 281. Okay, so right now it sounds like you're pretty much on a sort of a one-way road to the end of this game. You find the secret door Alexander told you about without difficulty, and quietly push it open. The smooth passageway beyond is dark, but you can see light streaming from a gap under a door at the end of it. You move slowly up into position and kick the door open, hoping to surprise your enemies. You glimpse a richly furnished room, and the glint of gold and silk and fur catches your eye. But you have no time to take in details. The dark elves inside are too agile and swift to be surprised, and now you must fight them. One at a time. Okay. You look around and pick up the 8 gold pieces. So I've got around 10 gold pieces now, I suppose. But beside this, you see a better treasure still. Wrapped in large, moist, broadleaf wrappings are 6 small, flat loaves of sweet whey bread. So, yeah. Each one equivalent to a full meal. You may add 6 to your provisions. Yeah. So plus 6, 12. So lembas bread, I suppose. Or dark lembas. The rich smell of spices, the glitter of silks, and other treasures do not tempt you, for you cannot carry these items. To the east of the room you see an archway leading to a small circular chamber, and you approach to look at it. In the center is a raised podium, of which a swirl of rainbow colors eddies and flows, the teleport device Alexander told you of. Breathing in deeply, you step into the waves of light, and the room fades from your sight. Where will you arrive? To find out, turn to 229. You find yourself in a circular chamber, from which 3 passages lead off into the distance. The walls seem to shimmer and shift, as if they were only half real, or as if a heat haze were wavering in the air. The floor feels solid to your feet, but it looks just as half real as everything else. You must surely now be in the Empire of Illusions, for even the passages seem to shift location, and you have no idea where north and south, east and west lie. Each passage is also of a different color, unlike this simple bare grey chamber. We take the red passage, yellow passage, or the black passage. Right, so maybe we have another little maze going on here. Hopefully it won't be too complex, because 2 labyrinths in one book is a little bit much, to be honest. Black. Yellow. I'm going to go with the red passage today. You follow the red passage, and the air soon begins to grow hot. You are sweating, and even if you try to turn back, you remain in this wretched place. There seems to be no way of escape. You enter a long red chamber, and in the distance you see an orange passage. It is becoming very hot indeed, and you are beginning to feel faint. Do you have a bronze ring? I do. If you do, turn to 263. If not, turn to 32. Not and 263. You slip on the bronze ring, if you're not already wearing it. While it still seems fairly hot, you're not damaged by the heat. You realize the ring is a magical ring of fire resistance, and you get safely to the orange passage where the heat is less intense. Turn to 362. You are about halfway along the passage when you are suddenly snatched up into the air as the ceiling dissolves. The area is filled with airy yellowish light, and as you float in the air, you become aware of a great eagle flying in to attack you. Surely it's an illusion, but your senses say it is real, and you can see blood on its talons and beak. You must fight it, and you have to subtract 2 points from your skill while doing so, as it isn't easy to fight floating in mid-air when you're not used to it. If you win, turn to 342. So eagle. As soon as you slay the eagle, the illusion simply disappears and you find yourself lying on the ground, flailing at the empty air. A low-pitched chuckle fills your ears. "Welcome to my empire," the voice gloats, "although I don't think you will be here for long." You see no one and you find yourself in the middle of a brown passage. At one end, the passageway grows blacker. If you wish to go this way, turn to 149. At the other, it grows green. If you wish to go this way, turn to 395. Okay, so we got green. Or black. I'm going to go green. You follow the green passage, and it takes on an increasingly blue tint, gradually shading to royal blue. The passage seems to go on forever. "You'll die of fatigue," gloats the ghostly voice, "or will your end be swifter?" Suddenly you hear the rush of water ahead of you, and a huge wave comes roaring down the passageway towards you. You turn to run, but the water smashes over you and knocks you, winded, to the ground. Water fills your lungs, and your frantic efforts grow weak as you drown. Turn to 13. You regain consciousness. Your vision slowly clears, and you realize you are lying on your stomach with someone smacking you on the back as you cough up. Nothing. You slowly turn your head to see a thin-faced young man with piercing green eyes and wearing grey robes. "An illusion," he says, "but effective, since you believed you were drowning. Getting what you thought was water out of your lungs seems to have helped." He notices your look of surprise at meeting anyone helpful here. "I am Parazan, Mordreneth's apprentice. The man's mad. If you can overcome him, good luck to you. I'm escaping now. I hope this helps." And as he disappears into thin air, you notice a golden flask he has left behind. If you want to open the flask and sip its contents now, turn to 165. If you want to keep the flask for later, add the golden flask to the list of equipment carried. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drink it now. 165. Even if that turns out to be a bad idea, I can just have saved my game, wouldn't I? Okay. You take just a sip of the liquid and spit out rancid vinegar. A loud laugh echoes down the corridor. "Oh, you poor fool! Don't you recognize an archmage when you meet one? I'm going to have fun watching your slow death. I couldn't let you die that easily." And the voice subsides into mocking laughter. You can see no one, but you know this is Mordreneth. You are filled with hatred for your tormentor, and you get up and struggle onwards. Turn to 387. Okay, so it's just basically having a laugh, isn't it? Oh, I forgot to put the paragraph reference in the previous one. So it was 387, yeah, okay. $387. Drink. You move warily along the corridor, which terminates abruptly at a brown archway. Beyond this, you hear the sound of dripping water, and there is a foul stench here. Beyond the archway is a sewer, but there's nowhere else to go, so you wade into the scum and muck and fight down your nausea. Well, there is another place to go. You could try going backwards, even though you probably can't, actually, because of the illusions. As you progress, you see glowing rainbow-colored lights in the distance, and stride out to the welcome light, but you hear scrabbling sounds and squeaks that grow louder, and the water seems to boil as a swarm of plague rats bursts forth and nips your legs and body. Will you cast a speed spell if you can, dispel illusion if you can, fight the rats, search in your backpack for something to use against the rats, or run towards the light as fast as you can? Did I have anything cool? that I might be able to use against the rats. I mean, in terms of equipment, I don't think so. Got a crowbar, bronze ring, platinum amulet, silver ring. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 options. I believe these rats are actually real. Okay. Run. Item. Fight. Illusion. I'm going to try the speed spell to run quickly away. You cast the spell and race away, and easily outrun the squeaking horde, and very soon make it to the end of the sewer. Turn to 152. The passageway at the end of the sewer forks. You may follow either the yellow-green one or one which is filled with rainbow-colored light. You know what? I think I'm going to go to the next page here. Just to add some room in case I need to play this again now. FF34. Map page 5. And 152. Yellow, green, rainbow. It was a rainbow that's the portal that led me to this section at all. Maybe rainbow is the one I'm looking for. So 1, 2, 5. Rainbow or 307. Yellow, green. So I'm going to go with a rainbow colored corridor. Passing along the rainbow passage, you feel an unfamiliar sense of goodness. Another illusion, perhaps. The passage leads into a high-ceilinged chamber filled with rainbow-colored lights. Inside, there are 3 semi-transparent human figures, and also 3 passages which exit on the far side of the chamber. 1 yellow-green, 1 azure, and 1 a deep ochre color. One of the shimmering figures drifts soundlessly towards you. Brave friend, not everything here has been corrupted by the wicked one. He has not overcome all of us. Let me give you a blessing to aid you. And it stretches out his hands to touch your head. I don't know. I mean, that could easily be another illusion, couldn't it? So I'm not going to allow him to do that, I think. 398. Touch or... oh, yellow-green, we already got that one. Azure. 272. Azure. 77. Ochre. I quite like ochre, so I'm going to go with ochre. The ochre passage has a rocky floor, and the air is dry and warm. You walk along carefully in order to avoid stubbing your toes on the rocks, which are scattered over the ground. You enter a long, narrow ochre chamber. At the far end of it, you see a dark tunnel in which flares and gouts of red light flicker from time to time. You head towards this, but you are only halfway across the chamber when you hear a loud crunching sound as if of moving stone. The walls are moving in to crush you. You see that even if you run flat out, you will be desperately fortunate to make the dark passageway in the distance before you are crushed to death. Will you? Cast a spell, use an item, run as fast as you can. I'm going to use an item in this case. Let's see, 3 options. So 396 run 45 item or 372 spell. Item, because I think the crowbar certainly should be useful for avoiding crushing. Do you have a crowbar? Yes, I do. The book thought the same as I did. That's good. Or I thought the same as the book, which is even better. 141 crowbar. 396. No. Oh, 396. That's the same as running. Okay. So 141. You wedge the crowbar between the walls and run. The stout metal holds the walls apart for only a few seconds before it buckles and snaps, but it's just long enough. You make it to the dark tunnel as the walls clash together a few feet behind you. Turn to 296. The black tunnel leads into a chamber crossed by two deep chasms. Gouts of flame spurt into the air from both, and clouds of burning gases hang in the air. On the other side of this infernal place, you can make out two passages. You step carefully across the ground in order to avoid the chasms and reach the passages, but then into the air rises a ghastly thing, malevolent and hideously evil. A jet-black flying skull with glowing red eyes from which blood wells and drips, hissing into the fiery chasms below. You feel the elemental evil of this thing with fear. Deduct 1 skill point for the duration of this combat and lose 2 stamina points as well. Now you must fight this thing, which is no illusion. But of course it does cause fear. If you win, turn to 15. Yeah. Well, this would actually be quite a hard book to win, it looks like, because certainly the combats that I've had is things with skill 8 to 10, many of them. And most of the beings that I've had to fight also have a stamina of around 12. So, excuse me, actually, I've got a phone call coming in. Just a moment. Right, I am back. That was a very long conversation. I do apologize. Although, of course, I will edit this video, and to you it will seem like it's over like that. Okay, so I beat the skull, the death skull, and I go to paragraph 15, where it says, now will you take the light airy passage, turn to 319, or open some iron gates and walk down the frosty passage. Okay, so now we've done colors and now we go on to elements. So it sounds like there's different themes going on here, which I quite like, by the way. And if you want to structure a dungeon, a maze, and actually make it a little bit more memorable and concrete, having different colors and then different elements, brilliant way to do it. I think it's just a simple thing as well, but theming different parts of it also makes it easy to remember where you've been, even if you don't map properly. And yeah, it just adds that little bit of flavor. It's such an easy thing to do. So that was actually really good, really well done, I think. So we've got 319. Or 331. So that's frost or air. I'm going to go with the frost. At least that tells me also that I've gone to the next section, so I'm closer to my goal. Hopefully, of course, there's nothing that I needed to pick up on the way now that is needed to get this. The icy cold passage leads down to a veritable charnel house. In the gloomy chamber, ice crystals seem to hang in the air above a forest of unburied skeletons which litter the cold stone floor, and that's this very vivid illustration there. And there are 2 exit passages not far away, close to where you entered. Well, you take the light, airy way out, so that is going the other one there. Dark brown, earthy exit. So 247. I'm just going to put that there. 247. Earth. Stay and say a prayer for the souls of the dead here. Okay. 1, 3, 4. Why on earth would I do that? Well, actually, I'm a bit curious. Why on earth would I do that? So I'm going to do that. See what happens. Your goodly thought is reflected back upon you as you utter words of blessing. The air seems almost to thaw slightly, and you hear what sounds like a collective sigh from the souls of the dead which hover here. Regain 1 skill point and 1 luck point. Wow. +1 skill, +1 luck. Now you can either take the airy light exit passage or the dark brown earthy way out. So I'm going to go with the earth, I think, 247. So that means at this point, this is definitely the correct thing to do, is to bless the dead. You follow the twisting, turning passageway until it ends at a door. You force the door open and enter a square, plain stone chamber, which has the statue of a man on one wall and 2 passages opposite. One is blue, one violet, as not violent, although it might be. It's violet. Sorry, there's so much violence in here. I just yeah. 1 blue and 1 violet. As you step in, wisps of smoke pour from the mouth of the stone statue and form a yellow skeletal figure which glides across the floor and extends its hooked clawed talons to rip at your throat. Will you fight the skeletal illusion, run for the blue passage, or run for the violet passage? Have we seen the blue passage before? We've seen green, black. No. Azure. Okay. Just going to put that one there. So that's 3, 9, 7. Fight. It's the illusion. So what good will it do me to fight the illusion? Probably usually not anything, is it? So 3, 6, 1 blue, 31 violet. I'm going to go with violet. You cannot make it in time, and the skeletal illusion strikes you in the back. Lose 2 points from your stamina, then your enemy appears in front of you. Turn to 3, 9, 7. So, okay. Do you have a silver medallion? If you do, turn to 95. I do. If you don't, turn to 230. So silver medal. I'll just put that. And as the skeletal figure approaches, your medallion shines brightly. You take a swing at the figure with your sword, and it disappears into wisps of smoke, struck by your sword in the glittering white light cast by the medallion. But now the medallion grows dim and dull, and you suspect its powers are exhausted. Now you can either follow the blue passageway, turn to 261, or the violet passageway, turn to... Okay, so... 261 or violet 150. So blue, violet. So I'm going to go with violet again, just to see if there's any violence there. The violet passage soon opens into a large cratered cavern littered with rocks and cobwebs. You think you see a single exit in the distance, but it is obscured by a huge rock several yards across. Then the rock moves. It is no rock at all. Yellow-black hairy legs seem to spring out in all directions, and a bony black head rears up, showing razor-sharp mandibles. The wings on this mammoth spider's back buzz and flutter, but it moves towards you on its great springing legs. You sense that this is an illusion, but one of exceptional strength. Yeah, it must be, because it's a spider with wings. Waves of fear radiate from the thing. You must deduct 1 point from your skill temporarily during this combat and lose 2 points of stamina due to this fear. If you can, you have time to cast a Dispel Fear spell which negates these effects. As the spider closes in, will you use a Dispel Illusion or fight the monster with your sword? So I am going to... 371. Dispel Illusion. It seems that Dispel Illusion can be used lots of places, so really you just... and you can only use it once. So it's just about getting advantage in one battle, isn't it? 175. Are you wearing a headband? If you are, turn to 198. It looks like there are lots of items around that give you advantages, and of course so far I've actually picked up all of them that have been mentioned, but the headband is something I have not come across in my journey, so obviously I've not been everywhere that is advantageous in this, and of course, although it must be said, it's not possible. It is possible that passing by this particular place isn't part of the optimum path. In which case, of course, the headband might also not be needed, or not useful, I should say, if you see what I mean. 394. I don't have a headband. You are now fighting a spider illusion, and if your sword is not a match for this dread creation, your adventure will end here. Yeah, well, stating the bleeding obvious, I suppose. Sometimes needed to state the bleeding obvious, I guess. And I go to 269 if I win, when I win, and I win. Because that's how I play. That's how I roll, I could say, by not rolling. You stumble across the rocket chamber and into the passageway beyond. Stone steps lead up to a well-lit chamber, the lair of Mordrenath himself. So I suppose this was the second section ended, and then you get to the third one. It feels like it's structured that way. You stride into this huge palatial chamber, resplendent with stone pillars, statues, and wall hangings, and lit by flaming braziers. You stand in a hallway with a balcony at the far end and stone steps on either side of you leading up to that raised area. On the balcony stands Archmage Mordrenath himself, tall and dark, dressed in flowing black robes. A trace of crystalline dust glitters as it falls from his hands to the floor, and he mutters an incantation. He is going to attack you with a spell. Will you cast a speed spell if you can? Cast a fire globe if you can. Raise up the left-hand set of stairs. Raise up the right-hand set of stairs. Or steps. Right, so... So 244 speed. Of course, I can't cast speed because I already have cast speed. I could cast a fire globe. 3, 3, 2. I'll try casting a fire globe, see what happens. You are in a spell combat with Mordrenath, for you are both casting fire globe spells at each other. You must first roll 2 dice for each of you, then add your respective skill scores to determine who has the higher attack strength for this attack round. If you have the higher attack strength, turn to 222. If Mordrenath has the higher attack strength, turn to 174. Okay, so that's actually considered a kind of a combat. That's actually kind of a cool little thing. So you, him. Okay, I'm going to pretend that I had a higher attack strength for that one because I'm not doing combat rolls. Your fire globe smashes into Mordrenath for an instant, engulfing him in red and yellow flame and a pall of smoke before he finishes casting his own spell. Make a note that when you fight him hand to hand, you should deduct 6 stamina points from Mordrenath's total because of the damage this spell has done to him. You run flat out up the right-hand set of steps as Mordrenath prepares another spell, and you can almost get to him, but not quite yet. Turn to 351. You still can't reach Mordredith. As he chants, a whirling bolus of black threads materializes above his head and whirls through the air towards you. Are you wearing a silver ring? Yes, I am. Turn to 79. Silver ring or no, which is 252, 252. No, okay, I'm wearing a silver ring, 79. As the whirling magical bolus whistles through the air towards you, a silver ring seems to absorb it into itself. The ring, which felt so dead and lifeless, must be able to absorb at least some kinds of magic, and may have just saved your life. Now you race to the top of the steps and you can fight the wizard. Turn to 46. Okay, this feels like it's very close to the end now. At last you are fighting with your sword against the evil archmage, but he is swift and deadly as a warrior too, and uses his sword well. His green eyes glitter in the flaring light of the smouldering braziers as he attempts to slay you. Will you triumph or be slain at the last? Mordredith, skill 10, stamina 17. So 10, 17. So it seems like skill 10. Monsters generally only have a maximum skill 10 in this game. Which is good because that actually gives you a chance to be victorious if you have a skill of 11 or 12. So it feels like even though many of the battles are difficult, there aren't that many battles. There are some ways to get around some of them, and yeah, but still you'd need probably a skill 12 to win this game. I'm just realistically, I'm going to say that I win this battle, of course. And that is turned to 400, so it looks like this might be the end of the game for me. As Mordredith falls at your feet, a great sigh is audible all around you, as if from hundreds of thousands of souls freed from a dreadful imprisonment of endless torment. Around you colors shimmer and grow pale, leaving only bare grey stone as the evil one's illusions decay and fade. Beyond the balcony you now make out a passage leading upwards to the fresh clean air of the open world under the heavens, and you believe you can almost smell the sea. Perhaps Captain Gareth will already be waiting to take you back to Poloa, to the glory and rewards you have so richly earned, sheathing your sword for the last time you stride upwards to find out. And that, my friends, is it. So, what can I say about this book now? Actually, I really enjoyed this one because, first of all, it wasn't hard to find the right path through, it seems. Now, of course, I was cheating with the combats in the sense that I wasn't making combat rolls because that is just a random element in a game that is otherwise based on choosing, and it's the choosing that is interesting. The random elements are random and therefore not interesting in terms of finding your way through, I don't think. So it seems that it's quite doable actually to win this game on the first playthrough, which is unusual, but at the same time, even though I did get through on the first playthrough, it still felt quite satisfying to have done so. I like the variety in it. I like the maze. I like the color themes and the element themes for the modernist Empire of Illusions. Very nice. I think I would have liked the end paragraph. So after defeating Mordredith, I wouldn't have wanted to go to 400 right away, or I would have wanted 400 to be longer, actually telling me what happened when I came back and meeting Alsander again, etc. And yeah, it just adds a bit more flavor, I think. Not strictly speaking needed, but so yeah, so that was quite nice, which means that I'm finished with Stealer of Souls, and next time I am going to play Daggers of Darkness, I guess, with this rather dodgy cover painting where the lighting is completely different on the skin of the figure than it is for the rest of the painting, which is really weird. But yeah. So I don't know what this one is about either, because again, this is something that was after my time, as it were, in reading these books back in the day, and of course I don't have any nostalgic memory of it. And after acquiring the full set of fighting fantasy books, of course I got the cheaper versions of the high numbers, the ones that are available in not in Scholastic, but in Wizard Icon. Of course, I got those ones in Icon rather than in the green spines. And the ones that only exist in Scholastic are the only ones I have in Scholastic, because I like the old school illustrations and the way they made the books and the font and everything much better in the old ones. But that's a different story. Yeah, next time, Daggers of Darkness. I hope you enjoyed this one, and if you did, do the usual thing you do on YouTube to support my channel: like, share, comment, subscribe, join me on Patreon, buy me a coffee, buy my artwork on pixels.com, buy my music on Bandcamp, and of course my poetry on Amazon. All links in the description. And yeah, that's it, really. Thanks for watching, and goodbye for now.